Hey gardeners, Amy here with Garden Up, and today I want to finally review last year, 2022, and talk about my goals for 2023. So we'll start with the good stuff. I had a wonderful crew. All year I had low turnover, I had a lot of people that stayed with me for the whole year, so I never felt like I was really short-staffed, and the people I had were wonderful. And a lot of them are coming back this year, so I'm very excited for that as well. My main focus for last year was a work and family balance and taking care of myself, mental and self-care and all those things. I reduced the number of new clients that we took on this year. That helped me keep sane a lot. We went from taking care of about 200 gardens in 2021 down to somewhere around 100 last year is all we did, and honestly it was so much better for my mental health. So we might probably stay somewhere around that number. I delegated a lot of the tasks that were still mine, and I hopefully have finally delegated the schedule. That has been my hardest thing to give away, just because it's very complicated, and trying to teach somebody how to manage all those moving parts has been a very big challenge. I've still had plenty to do, but I managed for the most part to turn work off at 5 o'clock, which was really important this year. And last year, and I intend to do it again this year. One of my biggest accomplishments last year was having the new baby. Yay, very excited for that. This was a very long time planned thing, and so I'm very excited and glad that we succeeded at that goal, I guess. That's a weird way of saying that. But anyway, we're very happy to have our new baby. And I've been enjoying her a lot. I've had a mostly restful winter, aside from being sick with every single thing that has come my way and computer issues that just don't seem to want to stop. But we're focusing on the good stuff right now, so I'm going to talk about that later. Some really fun projects that we got to do last year. We went down to the Palouse and did a really cool planting job down there. We had several xeriscape beds that we put in. That was really fun. And then we had really great weather all year, right up until November, when winter came a month early. That threw us off a bit. And we've had wonderful clients all year. Everybody was a joy to work with. So overall, last year was really, really awesome. We maintained a wait list all last year. It hovered somewhere around 80 to 100 names all year for most of the year. We finally got started calling those folks, and we started to work through several of the names. Many people did not call us back, or they had already found other solutions, and that's totally okay. Honestly, we're just glad, that we were able to take care of the people that we could help, but I didn't feel right just forgetting about people that were calling, which is why I was doing the wait list. So, but the people that did still need our help, we were able to get them started, and that was great. We still have about 80 names on that wait list. As soon as I call some back, more calls. It's just a really great problem to have, and I feel really blessed and honored and honestly quite humbled that so many people are calling us to help with their gardens. It's just such a cool thing. So I'm really grateful for that. It's been an amazing blessing and a challenge, but really an amazing blessing. On the subject of my YouTube channel, we finally qualified for monetization. Yay! Last March, right before business opened, and when I did not have time to set it up, because of course. Anyway, it is set up and monetized now, which I managed to do right before I started getting sick with everything under the sun and having computer issues, so I haven't been able to film, and it's just been quite an adventure, but we are now set up, and I'm hoping to get back on track with filming and video posting and all that stuff, and I'll get into more details of that later in this video. I even reached my goal of 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year 2022, so thank you so much to all of my subscribers. I am so honored that you enjoy my content enough to want to see more of it, and I hope that I continue to bring value to your video feed throughout the year on all kinds of cool plant and gardening topics. Another awesome thing that happened last year is that Matt and I actually got to have a honeymoon finally. We went to Hawaii for a business trip, and that was a lot of fun. We've been married for 7.5 years at that time, And we never really had an official honeymoon, so that was really fun. We got to travel for reals. And I took lots of pictures of a lot of plants. He even, like, humored my obsession, which was really cool, for 7 out of the 8 days we were there. Then he kind of got tired of stopping every 5 feet to look at more plants. But anyway, drop me a comment down below if you'd like to see a video of all the beautiful tropical plants. We did go to at least one botanical garden, and we went snorkeling with the manta rays, so that was pretty cool. Let me know if you'd like to see that in a video, and I will see what I can put together. Okay, so now we're gonna step into the not so good stuff that happened last year. Starting with cash flow problems, pretty much right from the get-go, we were behind. And so here's how that went down. So one of the trucks that I had previously was on its last leg, needed to be replaced. So I took my savings that I have been amassing for several years, and I paid cash for a used but very large, awesome truck. So we now have the new truck, but I now have almost no savings. And usually how I manage things in the beginning of the year is I have this pool of money that I use to make the first few payrolls, because as we're out there working, payroll happens before I can get invoices out and payments in. Therefore, I need to have some money in the coffers in order to make that first couple of payrolls before cash actually starts flowing. Well, this year in particular, we started billing right away because I didn't have any of those reserves left. But for some reason, and I have no idea why or how, almost everybody took quite a long time to pay their first bill, which is really unusual. Usually my clients are really prompt. They get their bill, they get a check in the mail, I have it in a few days. Like, there's not usually a delay that happens, but in this particular month, almost everybody took about a month to pay their bill. So I had made 2-3 payrolls before anything started to come in, and that really set us behind for the whole year. I had borrowed some money from my credit line in order to make those first few payrolls, and normally I pay that kind of money off really fast, but I was just never able to do that. And I think a lot of the reason why is partially inflation, because I had given everybody raises for cost of living raises and whatnot. I knew that stuff was going to get more expensive. If I want to keep my workers, I have to be able to pay them a living wage. Therefore, I need to raise their wage so that they can afford to live while working for me. The adjustments that I had made to our prices, instead of just raising rates across the board, what I did was I removed special rates. I was doing a package thing where I tried to do like more of a lawnmower structure where they charge by the job instead of by the hour. And that worked for the first couple of years, but then it just kind of stopped working. It got really complicated and none of us really liked it, including the clients. So we ended up just scrapping that and going back to just hourly, which is a lot easier for everybody involved in this business. And then we also added what we called a project rate, which was like heavy duty work, like initial cleanups that are always really involved, or removal of things, or big installations of new plants and new whatever, spreading bark, things like that. So we charged a higher rate for those things, and then our regular maintenance rate was just $40 an hour across the board for everybody. And my initial projections said that should have worked, and we should have made quite a bit of money last year. We didn't. That wasn't enough. And so I think it's mostly because of the higher rates. Everything got more expensive, and well, it wasn't enough to get us through the year. We would have come out pretty even had we not shut down early. So how the weather went down all year was beautiful. Everything was 2 weeks late. Literally everything. Flowers were blooming 2 weeks later than usual. Things were happening 2 weeks later than usual. Our heat arrived 2 weeks later than usual. Everything was 2 weeks late until winter, which came a month early. And so we didn't get any fall cleanups done. we had to shut down like the 3rd of November or something. And normally we get that early snow that just shuts us down for a few days or a week, and then it melts, and then we carry on with life and go get everybody's yards cleaned up. We couldn't do that this year because the snow never melted until January or February or something. It was dumb. So we ended up shutting down in November and losing an entire month of revenue. And so we ended the year at quite a bit of a loss. And yeah, ouch. So that kind of stunk. So all I can really say on the price adjustment thing is I'm really glad I created the project rate, because that's what kept our heads above water, is charging more for bigger stuff, and I was able to pay my crew higher for that kind of work, so that was really cool. And we're definitely going to keep doing that this year, and I also unfortunately have to raise maintenance rates because we're just not going to survive if I don't do that. So that's going to have to happen, and I've already let my clients know, and so far nobody seems surprised because, I mean, that's just kind of the climate right now. So everybody was probably expecting it. One thing that the cash flow problems did do is it forced us to find some costs that we could cut and become more efficient. We did find a few things where I was paying people to do stuff that, you know, wasn't on the clock of a client, so it is purely a cost. We were able to either make those things more efficient or just cut them out entirely. And I also cut my own pay significantly just to keep us afloat, right? So that my husband's not too thrilled about that, but at the same time he understands given everything that's going on. So I haven't paid myself all winter because I've been saving up money for next year so that we don't have a repeat of what happened last season. I was hoping to find an assistant to help me film and manage videos and social media and all that good stuff. I was not able to do that, but my new goal is that the channel becomes at least profitable on its own, and I will still be looking to hire somebody for that position. I just don't know when yet. On other subjects, aside from Garden Up, if you guys have been with me for a while, you'll remember I purchased a duplex last winter. This was specifically so that my gardeners would have something to do over the winter. I could pay them for it. It would keep them employed. It was a good thing. And the whole project was supposed to take about 10 weeks to get everything rehabbed and fixed up really nice and then refinanced and then rented. Well, one bad contractor ended up turning the project into 10 months because he didn't finish anything on time, which meant the whole project stretched out into Garden Up's busy season, and I just didn't have time to deal with it. So on top of it being severely behind, I also couldn't refinance it because everything I found at that point either had an early payoff penalty or an adjustable rate, which would be a really dumb thing to get right now, or some other gimmick that I just wasn't interested in. So it took me pretty much an entire year to finish fixing it up and getting it rented and getting it refinanced. And so now I'm in a terribly high rate. But at least it's locked and it can't get any worse, knock on wood. But that was just a massive fiasco from start to finish. That's been a massive headache for the entire year, and I won't be buying any more real estate for a while. It's just not the right time, and I don't have the time it will take to find and vet and do everything that's needed to do. In order to get a good property. So I'm kind of taking my hands off those wheels for the time being and just let it sit, as some investors say, pencils down. It's just not the right time. But I would like to say a special thanks to my workers, Jackie and Kelly, who kept going over to the duplex to work on it, whether I asked them to or not. And without them, I don't know if I would have ever gotten the thing done. And so thank you to you two. You guys are amazing, and oh my god, I wouldn't have been able to finish that project without you. So mwah, thank you. Okay, Whew, enough with the not so good stuff. Now I'm going to look forward and talk about my plans and my goals for 2023. So last winter, starting so early, meaning we didn't get any fall cleanups done because the leaves were still on the trees when the snow fell, um, basically means that this spring is going to be a massive spring cleanup. So I have already very carefully planned out exactly how we're going to do that. Basically, we are planning what I'm calling a slow start. So whenever there was a thaw between our snows, because there's always a thaw a couple of times in the winters, we already let our clients know that if they want a spring cleanup early, we will be available to do so. So we've actually already cleaned up a few yards, making as little uh, negative impact to pollinators as possible. Because part of me thinks that that early winter was kind of a good thing in a way for the pollinators. It forced us to not clean up all the leaves and stuff that they use to hibernate. So we did a few cleanups while making as little impact as possible on the pollinators. We weren't able to take any debris to our dump site anyway because it was buried under 3 feet of snow, and what we could get the truck through was a giant mud pit, so we wouldn't have been able to take any debris. So what we did was we left the debris on tarps at the clients' houses, and we'll go pick them up later after the temperature is about 50 degrees so that the pollinators have a chance to emerge. I'm trying, right? So the slow start is going to be just with returning employees, and then I'm going to hire a few people at a time as we need them and as I know I can afford it. What that's going to do is it's going to spread out that early cost of payroll, because again, payroll happens before invoices start coming in, usually. So if I only have my returning workers and I have some money saved from last year, I'll be able to make those first payrolls and then bill and get money coming in. And as I get money coming in, that's when I'm going to start hiring new people so that we can grow a little bit more slowly this year, as opposed to just hitting the ground running and having a big old payroll bill right off the bat. I've readjusted rates again so that I can give my employees a good cost of living raise again and some larger promotions. I still need to pay off the debt from last year, and I need to replace my savings and an emergency fund. And I still want to end this year with a profit. So that's quite a lofty goal given how negative the finances were last year, to basically recover from all of that, still give raises, and still save. I have had to adjust my rates. So I went from $40 an hour for everybody across the board up to $45, and we still have that project rate, but I left that at $65 because that still, to me, seems atrociously high. But when I compare it to what other landscape companies do, we're still pretty affordable, so I'm just going to kind of leave it right there. My other goal for myself is to restore my own income, obviously, because I still need to actually, eat, afford to live and contribute to my household. Otherwise, there's no point in running a business if I'm not going to actually get paid. So I'm going to directly be bringing in revenue for the company by working in the field more often and by doing more professional consultations. And what that is normally when I go meet with a potential client and do a consultation, there's an assumption that we're going to be doing work for that client. And if they're consulting with us so that they can hire us, I don't charge for those consultations. That might change this year. But what I do charge for is what I call professional consultations. And that's when I go to a client's house understanding that they're not planning on hiring us. They just want some questions answered. They just need some advice. They need some guidance. They need a little bit of how-to. There are entire businesses based on purely professional consultations. And so I started this last year charging for that kind of a consultation. I would go to a client's property, understanding that I will be there for at least an hour. and I bill for that time. And so this year I'm going to be trying to do more of those. We are also hoping to do a lot more projects and specifically installations like Spokanescapes and Xeriscapes. We really want to dig into that native and drought adapted landscape, that niche. That's really the direction we want to take our company. So we'd like to do a few more of those this year. And we do make quite a bit of profit on those because that's the project rate. I can pay my workers more and it brings in more money for the company. So I'm hoping to do a lot more of those so that we benefit in addition to the good we do for the environment. Yay! Win-win for everybody involved. My last goal for the year was going to be to post at least one video a week on Fridays, like every Friday, and then sometimes two a week. Maybe I would do a weed on a Wednesday or post a short on a Saturday. But realistically, I won't be able to post that much. Probably once a week is lofty at the moment. More realistically, it's going to be like once every other week. So I may not keep to my regular upload schedule. I may not get a video out every week, but I will be doing my best to do that. So we'll kind of just see what happens. I will post as often as I can. All that being said, I'm not really ready for the season to start, but it's ready. It's time. We're going to be out in the field as early as next week, and I am really looking forward to it. Like I said, I've got a lot of really awesome people coming back to work with us again, so I'm really stoked about having a crew that I know and I trust right off the bat. And I'm excited to see what this year brings. I really am. So thanks for watching. Thanks for following me through this adventure, and thanks for subscribing to my channel. And I will see you in the garden.